We had a thing happen some years ago where we had to socially distance. I forget what that was all about.
Don't remember.
Yeah, no idea.
Probably just a small thing. Maybe it didn't touch everybody's lives.
Yeah. But
can we say disease of an unspecified origin?
Yeah.
And not inflame the comment section. I want to inflame the comment section, though. We haven't done it yet.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
want you guys to get mad and argue so we can get views. Get on it. COVID.
That's right.
Wuhan.
Did it happen?
Yep.
Anyway, so Halloween came around, 4 months into the thing?
April's when it kicked off.
Yeah.
So 6 months in.
Yeah. So we, wanted to participate in the candy giving out situation and thought we would be safer, socially distanced. And, I think we thought about like sanitizing the candy and handing it. I don't remember how.
All of our candy tastes like Lysol.
So
that's got to be healthy. Yeah. Just drink bleach, kids.
In the spirit of safety, we instead built a catapult and launched the candy at the kids.
In the spirit of safety, we made a projectile weapon.
Yeah.
No, you didn't call it catapult, though. You had a great name for it.
Yeah, it was the candy pult.
Yes.
And that thing has resurfaced every year since. And we actually have families we don't even know, that came back to our house the next year or the year after.
Was this last year that I brought my kids to the candy pult?
You
it was
did.
raining.
It was, yeah.
We made a special trip. Yeah. And mid-year, my 5-year-old was like, Dad, are we going to go back to that house that has the candy launcher? It's called a candy pult, son.
That's right. And so when we've tried to, I think Vivian, or is it Vincent? Vincent, I think, had a competition to build a catapult, or what's the other thing?
Trebuchet?
Yeah. And, they have like specs and they had to launch a ball. And we built this rock star of a thing, but it wasn't consistent. So he brought it there and tried to do it. And he did okay, but didn't win the distance challenge. And we couldn't really get that one to work for the candy pult because it was launching the candy across the street, breaking noses. No. But the
candy
one
is bad for your teeth because it is a projectile weapon.
It's moving. But no, we've kind of perfected the main one we have. I will even tape on the ground, like, okay, stand right there on the X, and then take a shot.
I was gonna say, go ahead and just load up the candy pult with a shot.
But no, we would tape a position, and then it got to the point too where we knew exactly where it was gonna go, and we'd tell the kids, okay, hold your bag up a little bit higher. No, a little higher to the right. Okay, and then. Phoom, and then you'd go in there, and it's been a hit, a fun thing. I think we're gonna keep doing it.
Nice. Honestly, I just love the pun. It's been a hit.
It's been a hit.
You are listening to The Soapbox. I'm Paul.
And I'm Eric.
This all started out with a list. What's that all about?
So I've compiled a list over the years of things that just bother me, things that grind my gears, and I shared that list with you.
And I thought, you know what? That would make interesting conversation. Sometimes I'm going to want to agree with you, and it's just going to be something we talk about. Other times, though, I'm going to want to steel man the opposite position because I think that's just interesting conversation.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I'm always right, but Paul's just a really good debater.
Hey! I cannot take credit for this idea. I'm getting lazy in my old age.
Yes.
And we got spoiled, y'all. We got spoiled because we've got this AI tool that does all of the thinking for us. And we're going to just abuse it because we can. And why not? So we came over today. Beautiful weather. Nice walk over. Couldn't come up with a topic the whole walk over, even though we've got a huge list.
Yeah.
We could have picked anything off of the list.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Eric's got the F9 button set up on Excel to give us random topics, and we may jump into that. We may just throw one in there, depending on how things are going today. But I really liked one of the suggestions that ChatGPT gave us, and I think we're going to roll with it. And I think the fact that I couldn't come up with something is actually a function of the very thing that we're going to end up talking about. And so one of the selections, and I ask it to generate 5 because I generally don't like all of them, but one of the selections that it offered up for us was the art of boredom, or reclaiming boredom. And this notion that generations today don't struggle in the same way as past generations.
Struggle. Let's underline that too, because I think as we talk about it, we may discover that
maybe it's not a struggle.
Maybe it wasn't a struggle. Maybe.
Yeah. So let me maybe just start the discussion by kind of like self-identifying, generationally speaking. Even though you and I are only 5 years difference in age.
Right. Yeah. Probably.
6 years difference in age. 7 years difference in age.
It's gonna keep going up.
Yeah.
Stop.
Old man winter. We're not too far off.
Yeah.
And you're Gen X, is that the right generation for you? How do you remember boredom as a Gen Xer?
I remember if it was nice outside, I feel like I was never bored, right? I also had a brother that was only 2 years older than me, but we were kind of basically the same maturity level a lot growing up. So I think this would hit different with single.
Like no siblings.
Yeah.
Households for sure.
And we had a younger sister, but she was 4 years younger than me, 6 than Sean. So, but bored. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I would definitely often say, "Mom, I'm bored."
So I wrote down some times where I think boredom manifest for me in childhood. Obviously, you've got the lazy afternoon, maybe a Saturday afternoon. You got nothing to do. Sitting in a waiting room.
Okay, those are key ones.
For us, our family did a lot of travel via car. We were not the airplane income bracket.
Yeah.
And being from Canada, living in Kentucky, just even traveling within Kentucky to go from Lexington to Western Kentucky, where my mom's family's from, it's about a 4-hour car ride.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of boredom that comes with that, especially as a young person. And then I would also put into that one summer break.
Okay.
Just the fact that maybe you're a little bit of a latchkey kid. You don't have your parents there to take you places and do things. They've got to work. And so how do you contend with that time? Now, my generation, I am in a weird, unique subgeneration. I am not quite millennial, not quite Gen X, and so they came up with a sub-generation of Zennials. So all the cynicism of Gen X, all of the reasons that baby boomers hate millennials, all rolled into one.
Yeah, that's a nice little package.
Yep. And I think the defining characteristic is that the Zennial was born into an analog world, but they were also kind of the pioneers of the digital world as well. This is where the internet rolls out. This is where we're the generation that they would call to fix the printer or hook up the DirecTV or do whatever. And I think largely that falls on Gen X as well. I think you're probably family tech support too, right?
For sure. And well, the other thing to keep in mind for me would be we were early computer adopters. We were early dial-up modem adopters, and we've talked about this before about Bob Mahoney's bulletin board system being a local phone call for us. So we had access to an internet that was free to use. That was very, very unusual. So I'm thinking too, for me, having Nintendo and Super Nintendo, it's hard to get bored if you've got a fresh game too, right?
Yes, but even that I think is something that this touches on, because if you think about just a classic Nintendo game in 2025, at the time we're recording this here, to sit down and play that game and get as much out of it as there is within it is almost a Herculean task of focus.
Yeah.
Because you don't have save states. You don't have the ability to, cheat. You have to get good, because back then it was a punishment. The games were still modeled after the arcade play style of get people to use quarters, and so it was harder then than it is now.
Yeah.
Less forgiving, for sure. But because that was it. That was like your choice. That was what you had to do. You had to seize that, and you had to carpe diem, and fully explore anything there was to explore within that.
Yeah.
And consequently, you formed deeper attachments, and two, I think you got more out of the experience. You got more from less.
I certainly agree. If you could look at your playtime, compare it to now, I imagine we were really putting in hours per game.
Yeah. I know Chrono Trigger was one that had a clock on it. It actually showed you your playtime.
Yeah.
And if you would play front to back, then it would unlock Game Plus, and you could play it again, but with new cutscenes, new ending possibilities, and you could carry over some of the skills so you didn't have to grind quite as hard. And I know I've got hundreds of hours in that game.
I was like, Metroid was great too, because if you beat it, you got the big reveal that the main character was female.
Yes.
Oh, spoiler! Sorry.
Oh yeah. 25 years statute of limitations on that spoiler.
Probably 30, huh? Yeah. No. So I guess probably what you're gonna contrast this all to is these phones in our hands now.
Yes, that and all the other things, because if we go down the list here, car rides, as an example, we were fortunate enough to have the original gray Game Boy. And so during these car rides, it was a little bit of a trade-off, because one of us got the Sony Walkman CD player with the skip protection that was literally physically like a spring.
Yeah.
And it would still skip because the car would bounce. So somebody got to listen to their favorite music, and we had a handful of CDs to choose from. You might listen to Blues Travelers 4, or you might listen to No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom, or Paul McCartney's Flaming Pie. Handful of things we've probably already said on the podcast at some point in time. But when you're locked in, you got 6 options. You're going to spin them front to back over and over again. And if you didn't get the CD player, then you got your time on the Game Boy. And it might have been Tetris or the Mario game that came out for Game Boy that was sort of an approximation to Super Mario World, but with some weird additional characters and sprites and things. And that was it.
Yeah.
After that, it was like, okay, let's play the letter game. Everybody find a sign that starts with A, now B, now C. All right, let's find every color car in the rainbow.
In order. Right.
In order. And that was it. That was how we contended with that time. And now, I don't know. I assume all your kids now, they're old enough. They've all got their own devices.
Yeah, I can't even drive to soccer practice without Vinny just doom scrolling.
Yeah.
And it's something we actively trying to point out and address and have them come up with mechanisms to limit it, because I do think it is. We'll get into some of this. I'm sure it's there's a fair bit of like brain rot going on, and you see it around. And you mentioned a waiting room too. It's like, could you imagine sitting in a waiting room without your device now?
I've been in waiting rooms even recently where they still have magazines stacked up on the counter.
Okay.
And it boggles my mind in a medical setting that they would have a shared thing everybody is touching. And it's just like, we're all here for different reasons, and many might be contagious.
Yeah.
Here's your Martha Stewart living.
That's interesting.
So sometimes I think it's beneficial to not be forced into that old world, because I think that old world, we were all dying of plague in some ways that we didn't need to.
Right.
But what about like the lazy afternoon situation? If your kids are home from school, they don't have a soccer obligation, it's a holiday weekend, are they interacting with other people, your family, their peers, face to face?
Well, Vincent's the social butterfly, so he is. He had a sleepover a couple weekends ago, maybe last weekend. There were 5 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a freshman in high school, and that's just his jam. He gets all the people together. He likes So he very often is either on a phone call with a buddy and playing a game. So this kind of gets into the multiple technologies. He doesn't like to game just solo. Well, I take that back. He and Vivian will sit and play Minecraft or Terraria or whatever, stuff like that. When he can't find any of his buddies to play with. But yeah, so he's a bit different. I imagine most kids are content to just sit on the couch and just scroll, right?
Yeah. You and I both teach here at the prestigious institution. I don't know, you've got a longer standing history of being in the classroom than I do, so I think you've probably seen maybe a little bit of a shift in the culture, because I imagine when you first started teaching, kids didn't all have iPads.
Right.
They probably did all have phones.
Actually, that's interesting you say that, because I could say for certain, I've been teaching the GIS class for over 10 years, and early in the probably about 10 years ago, we were trying to get kids out to collect data.
Yeah.
And I would basically have to say, okay, raise your hand if you have one of them iPhones.
Oh, the device with the built-in GPS.
Yeah. And it would be like they would have to partner up 2 to 3 people.
One plebeian with one rich kid.
Yep. And so that, that kind of increased, obviously, over the years until recently now. I don't even ask. In fact, what I ask now is, hey, please bring a charger with you, because
and take a shot.
Take a shot. I don't ask my students to take shots, but bring a charger, because you're gonna be using your device in class. But no, I have seen students. Of course, my students have computers in front of them too, but I've seen students like on their phone while lecture's going on.
Sure.
And it's just like, really?
Have you seen the desk prayer? They're looking down. They're trying to hide it, but it's very clear what they're doing, because they're so fixated on their crotch.
Yep.
Maybe it's their phone.
Maybe it's their phone.
Maybe it's a worse problem.
You didn't want to look.
No. Yeah, let's be comfortable with that ambiguity.
We actually had a student at KTC, so working, and they were doing something mindless. I and maybe this is part of what we're talking about too, but they were watching / listening to Netflix
while doing
the work, and I had to I had to put the foot down and be like, look, you can't watch TV when you're at work. I mean, your lunch break, sure, but
no, I do think people have kind of conditioned themselves, and that's actually one of the greater points that I've got on here is we're not meant to be constantly on, right?
Yeah.
And yet we've got a whole generation of folks who they have to have something on all the time.
Yeah. Well, like they'll have scrolling going on when they're watching a TV show.
Yes.
And it's like, what, huh? Yeah. You can't.
Have you seen a movie in theaters recently?
Yeah.
How many times have you seen those screens light up and people are playing casual games during the movie?
Yeah.
You paid $16 for this premium ticket to see this thing live instead of streaming on that little screen, and now you're back to looking at your little screen instead of this,
It's your Candy Crush, right?
Got to keep that highest score going, I guess.
I do think there's one exception that I'll fight for, and that is using the bathroom.
Okay. Yeah. Let me hear you out here, and then I might try to take a counterpoint.
So in my pre phone in my pocket days, I always had the bathroom reader was a collection of books that had just trivia in it, puzzles, a lot of like interesting facts and just fun little things. And I had these stacks of these books in the bathroom. I think I probably had them at home. I think I got them from my dad somehow. And then, like it was ever since I moved out, they'd be right there. And that way I don't have to read the back of the shower, the shampoo bottle.
Yep.
So you've done it, right?
Everybody has. Like, what are sulfates?
Right.
What is that?
So I kind of conditioned myself to like bathroom time. You got to have something interesting to read.
So the phone is there for and I have to say this carefully so I don't mess it up. When you take a sit in the shade.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Heard somebody try to say that one time at church, and then they flipped the starting sounds, and it was like, yes, you said it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I will say, compared to the nasty stack of things that have been there for every toilet flush.
Yeah.
Because they say your phone has got fecal matter on it, and that this thing is maybe one of the more disgusting things that people carry around.
I think about your belt buckle. Do you wash your hands before you buckle your pants? No.
You've said this to me before, and I have often thought about it now. You've introduced a new neuroses for me, so thank you for that.
Oh, that's my pleasure.
Get a new belt and make sure I have to like throw the old one in the Walgreens sanitary disposal bucket there.
Yep.
Hazmat. So I do think that this constant on thing, this is leading to another cultural issue. I think we're seeing now an abundance, maybe an overabundance of a diagnosis of ADD / ADHD. And I believe some of that's just because now we've got better diagnostic standards. We're more aware it was always present.
Yeah.
But also because I think people are just people. And we've got this short attention span. When I was learning to edit video, I took a couple classes here at UK under a friend of mine now. His name's Nathan Stevens. He's no longer here at the prestigious institution, but he was for a long time, and he was sort of a mentor for me when I was an undergraduate. And in his class, and then just YouTube videos and things where I was sort of brushing up my chops and getting better at that skill, one of the things that I learned was that you can't have a long sweeping shot unless it's very, very intentional. And the reason you can't do that is because people have been conditioned specifically by, at first, MTV. It used to be, if you watch an older movie, that those shots were pretty standard. It might be a minute or two between breaks or zooms or anything else because it was hard to edit. They physically had to clip the film and they had to actually tape it together. And so they minimized that because of the technology. And one of the things that MTV realized was they would lose viewers unless they always had something new. And so music videos and content produced for MTV started having cuts that were between 3 to 5 seconds. Even if it was your face, it would be your face, boom, your face closer. Just like a digital jump cut, just to keep people engaged. And it worked so well, everybody copied it. And since everybody copied it, now you've got this constant like change of stimulus reinforcing to your brain, this is new look, this is new look, this is new look. And your brain is being flooded with dopamine because it's overstimulated. And consequently, you retain your audience, which is great for selling those advertisements. But what's it doing to our brains?
And I was reading something recently about how the actual task, a lot of people say I'm multitasking, and computer scientists will always, make the joke that, well, you're not truly multitasking, you're task switching.
Yes.
You're just doing it quickly. And then there's something to that in the brain where every time you make those switches, there's something happening where you're like consuming resources.
Yes.
And basically you're just kind of wearing yourself out. And
this is actually something that I taught Friday in my class.
Okay.
This is one of the things that we talk about with critical thinking. And it's the idea of multitasking is not true in the human brain. And the computer science joke that you're thinking of, they say that the brain is a single-threaded processor.
Yeah. You get into hyper-threading, and I know it's a different game. It's an old joke.
Or a single core processor. Yeah. But that's true. And the phenomenon you're talking about is psychological switch cost.
Yeah. Okay.
And with that switch cost, you're not just using more energy in your brain, which is true. You are using more compute power, but there's also a kind of a spin up, kind of like an old car engine. Like you got to warm it up a little bit. And depending upon the nature of the brake, that psychological switch cost can actually cost you between 10 and 15 minutes to get back to the optimal level that you were previously engaged in.
Yeah.
And so if that happens to you several times throughout the course of a day, you can actually waste half your workday just switching between tasks or being interrupted by somebody that doesn't, know when to stop talking at the water cooler or anything like that. Yeah. And so, that's totally a thing.
I mean, the studies have shown how many times people check email a day. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think that's probably because now we're aware of this. I think that's something that we could do a better job of baking into the workday, scheduling productivity time where you turn off your notifications and you say, look, I've got a task that requires me to do a literature review. I've got to do some focused reading. I'm going to just shut my office door, turn my notifications off, put an out of office message up for folks that want to get a hold of me, and give myself an hour to really focus on the material.
There was a guy at KTC that he had a rule where he would check his email twice a day. So in Outlook, you can actually turn off the automatic, checking and make it a manual process. I think, funny enough, he joked with F9. I think it's F9. He would basically hit the hotkey or click the send, receive all, or whatever, and he would just kind of twice a day. I don't know that would work that well today. With you've got Teams, you've got the phone, you've got the computer.
People will text you, but also I've known people just walk into my office if they can't get an immediate response. Yeah. So there is an expectation that comes with that availability, that digital availability, that because you have the device, people just expect that you're going to respond to them.
Yeah.
And they've prioritized themselves above any other thing that you might be doing that day. So sometimes you have to have that uncomfortable realignment of expectations conversation. It's like, if you're the director, you can do that 100% of the time.
Yeah.
No problem. Happy to do it.
Yeah.
If you're not, there's like 99 other people here that may need the equal amount of attention that got here before you.
There's a band we don't often talk about. The frontman's Maynard. A Perfect Circle.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Anyway, A Perfect Circle had an album come out. I'm trying to remember. I think it came out during COVID or right before. But it's lines. Some lines in it are set the silicone obsession down. Lay on your back and look up, and I actually use it with the kids. Anytime the song's on, I'll be like, "Hey, Vinny, listen what he's saying," and of course Vinny's on his phone. So one of the things we try to do at home is like kind of bring it up and be like, "All right, guys, we came out here to sit on the back porch. Get some nice weather. Let's be present.
Yeah.
Leave the things in the house." So this has been us trying to be more active about it, and
you've probably seen the baby boomer meme comic strip that says, when the computer was tied to the wall, the man was free, or when the phone was tied to the wall, the man was free.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And I do think there's a lot of truth in that. I Googled this beforehand just to make sure I was getting the right movie reference, but one of my all-time favorite movies is Donnie Darko. Do you remember this one?
I remember the movie. I don't think I get the reference, though.
So in the movie, they're in a classroom, and they're supposed to come up with an invention, and one of the kids comes up with this, it's almost like the Apple Pro headset, right? It's this headset that you can put on babies so that you can show them images while they sleep. Or over the course of the nighttime, with the idea being that you can train them on certain ideas, or you can fill their head with knowledge during the downtime.
Subliminal messaging, kind of, or
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And the idea was, it's a high school kid's invention, so it's not a perfectly fleshed out idea. But the teacher says something to the effect of, this is an interesting idea, but have you ever considered that maybe infants need darkness? And it's sort of I think it's an allusion to the idea it's Donnie Darko, and that darkness is a necessary part of the world, and it really gets into layers of existence and existentialism. But it does also sort of, I think, acknowledge that human beings aren't meant to be on all the time. We're not meant to be engaged all the time, and so a lot of these systems are sort of mind hacks. They're we've talked about feedback loops before, and it's absolutely that. It's a feedback loop, and we don't know how to handle the constant excess stimulation.
Or we're getting conditioned to expect it.
So that kind of leads me to, I guess, the other point that I've written down here, and that's this. We've addressed the current situation, but what's the function of boredom, or what can be the byproduct, the healthy byproduct of leaning into boredom? And I've got 3 points here. Maybe this is just going to be points, or maybe this can lead to conversation. But one is creativity. I think you get creative when you have to get creative.
Yeah.
And I watch my daughter. We limit their screen time. So she'll go to the kitchen table after 20 minutes of playing Nintendo Switch or whatever it is they like to do. And just this week, she has gotten popsicle sticks and some balsa wood and some wood glue, and she's made an entire bedroom suite of doll furniture.
Okay.
And she's super proud of herself.
Yeah.
She made a rocking chair that actually rocks, and like it's pretty good for somebody that's never done this before.
Yeah.
And she's just making it out of nothing.
Yeah.
But she never would have done that if we just said unlimited time in front of the screen.
Vivian is really good about like disconnecting and getting creative, and she will draw, and she will she likes craft projects, and doesn't love to finish them. But I love
a common problem.
Yeah, I love to see that though, and you're right. Just maybe a question to you too. Why do you suppose it is that staring at the screen and doom scrolling and all that, and I guess I know a lot of the answers here, but we should unpack it a little bit. That's different than taking a shot. That's different than your nose in a book. Like, I mean, you can look at the two things as being kind of similar in the sense that you're kind of detached from the room. You're reading, but there's something else going on there mentally. I'm pretty sure that reading a book is not the same distraction as the.
I've heard the most delightful description of reading a book. I just want to share it just because, and then I'll answer the question. Reading a book is taking a small strip of a dead tree, staring at it, and then hallucinating.
Yeah, that's about right.
Love that. Yeah. Love that imagery. I think the difference is twofold. One, there's something about having that tactile interaction. Mm-hmm. Just like writing something down is more impactful than typing it.
Sure.
It engages something in your brain that I think is different. But you also have to focus on that material.
Yeah.
You can't bounce back and forth. There's no distractions. It is what it is, and you're going to have to contend with that thing.
Well, I must be doing it wrong because I'm daydreaming. I'm rereading sentences.
That too, but isn't maybe that part of the process?
Oh yeah, no. And I joke, but it depending on what you're reading, there's certainly a range there. But I would even throw in like an e-reader too. I think you lose some of that tactile, the turning of the page and the.
And they try. Some of them have the little page turn effect and the sound, but it is different.
It is different. It'd be interesting to compare the brain scans of someone doom scrolling versus e-reading.
Yeah, I'd like to see the e-reader versus just the physical book itself.
Too. Yeah.
Because I've heard people, and I think you actually were in the room when somebody said this. I can't remember who said it, and we shouldn't call them out anyway because it's not a sentiment that's very flattering. But we were around, and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I read 30 books this year," and we were both like, "Oh, it's pretty okay." And then they were like, "Yeah, I just download Audible and I just listen to them while I drive." It's like, you didn't read 30 books. You listened to somebody read 30 books, but that's stolen valor among book readers, isn't it?
I think so, but I would definitely say. In terms of now, I mean, I love music, so listening to music in the car is definitely great. But listening to an audiobook, I think it deserves some credit.
I mean, it's better than just listening to the same 20 songs on Spotify on repeat. I'm not trying to downplay that it has virtue, but I don't think it's the same thing.
It's not quite the same, but I definitely would. Give them credit for. I mean, they're not listening to like a dumb podcast like this. So, I mean,
you mean an incredibly smart podcast that's going to enrich your life?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we'll just basically consider us too long didn't read. We'll read the books and we'll just explain them to you.
There you go. Wait, you read books?
What?
What?
I listen to people read. No.
So, the other two I had here, I think, are kind of related. Problem-solving, imagination. I think that's all in the same domain. We're kind of running up the clock a little bit, but I did want to maybe pivot to practices that, and I didn't get this from ChatGPT. This is my own original.
Okay.
Practices that I think we engage in to supplement the need that may become more necessary than ever before. And I've written down 5 here. I've got patience, prayer, fasting, meditation, and taking a digital Sabbath.
Digital Sabbath. Okay.
And so I think the patience just comes from the fact that I think boredom's one of those things that forces you to have to sort of contend with the uncomfortable feeling of the silence and the space. Mm-hmm. And I've often said to my kids, they'll say, "Dad, I'm bored." And my first reaction is, "Hi, bored, I'm Dad."
Right.
Because that's just an obligation as a father.
Yeah.
But then I'll say, "Guys, listen, it's not my job to keep you constantly entertained. Get comfortable with the fact that you're bored, because life is not exciting. Life is a few exciting moments with a bunch of boredom and suffering in between."
Yeah.
And I think that's good parenting. Maybe I'm wrong. But I do think that having to face it does sort of foster some patience.
Yeah.
I'll put prayer and meditation together because I think depending upon your religious stance, they serve the same function.
Yeah.
But it's this idea of allowing yourself to be alone with your thoughts, to have that conversation, whether that conversation is with God or whether that conversation is just with yourself, or just leaning into the idea of silence and maybe trying to get away from your thoughts.
Yeah.
And just experience, just self.
Or paying attention to where those thoughts even come from, I think, is one of the key things to meditation. Yeah. Okay. These are good. These are good things.
Yeah. So then fasting from a religious standpoint has the same sort of function. If you're doing a fast from food, the idea is that in the times where you feel hunger or when you would be eating, that you take that time as time for prayer, or you could do meditation. There's certainly documented health benefits to fasting as well, but that's just, again, it's sort of a discipline where you're saying, look, I'm going to exercise agency, and I'm going to be the one that's in control of me.
Yeah, you're not turning into the desire or the thing that, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. And then I think that's then related to this idea of digital Sabbath or digital sabbatical. And that's just the notion that, hey, sometimes step away. Mm-hmm. I stepped away from social media for about 3 months here this past summer, deleted my Facebook account, and that was eye-opening because I realized for the first couple weeks really afterwards, I would open a tab on Google Chrome and start typing Facebook, and I didn't have an account.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I'm so addicted to this thing that I'm doing it without even thinking about what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've found myself grabbing my phone to check a text message or an email or something like that, and then like just the Siri suggestion, can pop up and I'll be like, perhaps you want some Facebook. It's like, yes. Oh, sure. Like, wait, no, I didn't.
Or why did I pick this thing up? 30 minutes later, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I was going to check my email for that thing for the kids' soccer or whatever.
Right. Yeah, no, and these are good, I think good healthy things that I think my kids, I would benefit from it. Yeah.
So all that to say this, listen guys, we are on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and don't miss the next episode of The Soapbox.
Yeah.
We've got a brand new website. What is that site?
That is SoapBoxLex.com.
So you can check us out on the web. You can also check us out on your favorite streaming platforms, including...
we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, and we're on Amazon. And of course,
if you want to check us out and actually see what you're listening to, we do have video as well on YouTube. And I don't know if you knew this, but Spotify does video too.